Hi, I'm Laura Bomey, and I'll be your instructor for the LXD Elements of Learning Experience Design course. I'm excited to have you in the class, and I hope that you enjoy the activities and keep me informed on how I can help you. This first week, when you first log into the class, you will see that in Canvas you have a number of items. You can click on the Start Here and the Week 1 items, and you will also have the assignments coming up that will show to your right. I am going to go into the modules area on the left side of Canvas and give you an overview of the Start Here. When you're in the course, you'll see, again, the course overview. There's a nice video there about the entire course. The Start Here syllabus gives you the syllabus. You can click on it here, my information, and the various items about the course outcomes and so on. And then when you go back to the modules and go into the course overview, you'll have my information here. There's a questions and sharing area if you want to post questions for me to answer and everyone can see the answers. And then there's different pieces of information about the program and the materials that we will be covering. And the overview of learning activities you may want to take a look at because it gives you a summary of each week and the process that we will be going through, which are these various phases of learning experience design. And so do take a look. This first week we will be covering just what is learning experience design, and we will also be talking about design thinking and designerly ways of knowing. So a lot of this for some of you may be brand new information. For some of you that are maybe taking the classes not in sequential order, then you may have already taken some of the other classes either with me or with another instructor, and some of this will not be new to you, but each of these classes kind of digs in on particular elements of these pieces of the design thinking process. Again, going back into modules, continue to look through, start here for anything that would help you be successful getting going. And then in this week 1, there's an overview, there's a section on what is learning, and then readings and resources. These are all items for you to review. And then you've got some assignments. Like all of these courses, there's a discussion, getting to know you. If you would just post about yourself, and then you'll have 3 small assignments, the individual assignment, which in turn will feed essentially the small group activity, and then a whole class discussion. And so I want to go through a few of the elements here for you in the materials so you are familiar with what's going on. So in the overview, I'm not going to read everything to you, but in the overview, you'll see the introduction that goes over the intersection of the learning sciences, design thinking, designerly ways of knowing, and instructional design, and where that intersection is learning experience design. And then it'll give you various pieces of information about all 4 of these areas and how they do inform learning experience design. And then below that, you'll see you have the learning outcomes and the various tasks that we will be completing for this week. And then if you go into each of these subsequent areas, lots of reading and resources, and then some information on learning. When you go into the readings and resources each week, you'll see we do provide a lot of information, but don't feel like you have to read it all. It is really just to get you some resources that you might be able to use during the course and after the course. But there are some in particular. Each week you'll see that I'll have a summary that's a PowerPoint, a PDF PowerPoint for you. I'll pull it up here in just a moment, and then various pieces of information for you, some videos that you can review that will help inform your work. But again, do not feel like you have to read every single paragraph in Word. Just some of them you might just want to open them and see if they resonate with you, or some of the topics. Some of them are scholarly articles and some are just quicker videos. And then there's optional resources as well for you. But I do want to pull up the this PDF you'll see in each week that I provide you some an overview of the materials as well. So in this week, here are our topics: learning experience design, kind of what it is, the framework I mentioned, learning sciences, instructional design, design thinking, designerly ways of knowing, and kind of the process we will be following, and then the overview of this week's activities. So I already briefly showed you this graphic of the intersection of those 4 areas in learning experience design. And then what is learning experience? What exactly is it? It's a situation that you encounter that takes a certain amount of time and leaves a kind of impression. And the essence of this is, as you develop learning experiences for end users, their ability to learn and retain information is much greater when it becomes some kind of experience or event that then leaves an impression behind. So if you learn from something, then that in fact is a learning experience. And so that's what the focus of this course will be. Learning experience design is taking that a bit further with all of your instructional design, adult learning, any kind of education background that you have. It's taking that learning experience and applying other principles based on learning sciences and user design and things like that that will help improve your design work and the user experience when they do learn. Here are those 4 areas: learning sciences, instructional design, design thinking, and designerly ways of knowing. And as I mentioned, if you've taken some of the other classes, it might start to feel a little blurry between the various areas. The LXD courses primarily focus on design thinking and designerly ways of knowing. And the distinction between those two is pretty fine, but design thinking is more of a process, which is, and both of these work on framing problems, integrating users through testing and empathic listening by the designer, ideation, prototyping, and then testing of some kind. So if you take the other classes, you'll be getting more in-depth work on these 2 areas. And in this class, you will be coming up with problems, or what we call wicked problems, that you'll be working on as part of your assignments. But we'll only spend kind of a higher level. This is more of an intro class, and the other classes go into a little bit more detail. So I hope that helps distinguish those a little bit. The process that we will follow, we're in phase 1. This first week, we will start with framing our problem statements and what we call a design challenge, which will be something you work on throughout the course. And then each of the weeks that we will be working through these various phases of the learning experience design process. And don't worry, you don't have to remember all of this. You'll get reminded of it each week as we go through. This is just to give you kind of a roadmap for where we're going. Really, the bulk of this class is for you to think about a problem as what's called a design challenge, and then we work through that problem from a learning experience design perspective. Okay. So I give you some examples in the assignments. You'll be asked this week, as I mentioned, to come up with a problem statement. Oftentimes, one easy way to do that is to start thinking in terms of how might we do something? How might we improve something? How might we design something? How might we develop something? And so this is just a quick example. You might think of a problem that you experience in your workplace, with your friends, with your family, but then we want you to turn it into something that you can do a design challenge and work on throughout this class. So if your problem statement was something about teenage girls need to eat nutritious food in order to thrive and grow in a healthy way, and you wanted to turn that into a design challenge type of question, you might use a how might we question to reframe it. How might we make healthy eating appealing to young females? How might we inspire teenage girls toward healthier eating options? So this is just a quick example for you to show you. There's some other examples in the assignment itself. This is a summary of our assignments. During week 1, you'll have an individual assignment to identify 3 problem statements that you might want to consider for your design challenge, and you'll do a summary on each of those. You'll have a small group assignment to share with your small group your 3 problem statements and get some feedback on the wickedness of those problems and their complexity. You'll be able to introduce yourselves to one another and to me. And then there's going to be a whole class discussion about what is learning and how learning experience design, with the little bit you started to know, how might it already be starting to impact your thinking about learning. And then lastly, just a summary of what I just reviewed. Reviewing of the learning experience design resources, the intersection of all 4 of these areas. You'll be creating problem statements and sharing those with peers, and you'll be reflecting on your new learning this week. Okay, so with that, I want to just go through the last bit of the modules, the week 1 module that you'll have. So I mentioned in that that presentation. These are the assignments, and then there's just a conclusion area. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. As I mentioned, my information is here. You will be getting a weekly announcement that comes out every Monday morning. And if you need anything at all, please do reach out to me, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.